Well, welcome everybody and welcome back to White Sands Self-Care Community. I am your host, Laura Cross, and resource for connections and collaborations with your self-care and to help you live a healthier lifestyle. And I am excited to have with me today, Michael Landau. He is joining us all the way from Chile, which we were just discussing. We have the chilly weather here in Missouri. We're going into winter, but he's getting ready and getting warmed up. Michael works mostly with self-care, health, and growth through movement. So Michael, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for the invitation, Laura. It's good to be here.
Yeah. So tell me, I know you do a lot with mindful movement. What does mindful movement mean to you?
Well, I work with movement, so it has the appearance of exercise, which it is not. The difference is that I insist on keeping the mind as part of the movement, which means it doesn't get mechanical. We have somehow created this whole idea of exercise as if the body is this kind of machine that needs maintenance. So we take it to the mechanic, we stay out of it. We just do the mechanical things, which have, of course, benefits. It is important to do cardio to strengthen your muscle, to work on flexibility. These are the mechanical sides of movement, and they are important. We need them. But very often you see people go into the whole exercise world as a purely mechanical thing, as if they themselves were not part of it, as if it was something foreign to them that they are maintaining. So this is why mindful is attached to movement. It is something that you do as a whole person, and you use movement as an area of exploration in which you can grow and improve as a whole person.
Yeah. So when you work with people, because we know movement's important, whether you're an entrepreneur and you're stuck in front of the computer time or you're working in an office all the time, normally we find ourselves kind of stuck or static in a position all the time. And like you said, many of them, even though we know we should work out or do something or go to the gym, most of us feel like we don't have time to go to the gym. So how do you work with clients that face that? And maybe you can go elaborate more on that.
Right. So I've created this this combination of mindfulness and movement because, yeah, I'm also sitting quite a bit in front of the computer. I need to move. So, well, we can use any excuse to just get up and do something. And the issue of time, yeah, it became very evident in the pandemic. Everybody was somehow busier, although they didn't leave home for long periods of time, and everybody was sitting and life was happening in front of the screen. So this is where this kind of invention. I did an experiment with with my pilot group, doing a daily, very short mindful movement session. So I recorded sessions once a day. I sent it to the people, and they had to commit to 3 minutes a day. The idea was, even if you don't have time, even in the busiest days, you can find 3 minutes. So I took kind of the essence of classes that could go on for an hour, in which you explore yourself in movement and really take time. And I turned it into a daily habit. That was the idea, and it seemed to work. It had, people were very happy and kept doing it and kept coming back. So the experiment was successful, I could say. So the idea was to take movement explorations in which you pay attention to what you do and play with little variations, and with the idea of creating a learning space in which you can grow and improve, not just exercise mechanically, and make it really as short as possible so that something small happens. So you take a tiny step every day. So it's a combination of my whole work as a Feldenkrais practitioner, which is like the modality that is behind it, and the idea of habit creation, like find a healthy habit that you can actually do every day because it is small enough and easy enough. And yeah, so that's my own creation.
So how would you explain that? Because I'm sure many of us think that, you know, it's kind of hard to believe that just 3 minutes can really make that big of a difference.
3 minutes, it was an experiment. As I said, I tried it. I thought in 3 minutes I can do an exploration in which something happened. And this was the idea, make it the minimal viable product, as they say in business, in which something small happens. So you take a tiny step, and in 3 minutes you do this exploration, and at least on most days you would feel something has changed. It is very small, it is not spectacular, it is not huge, and you're not going to change your life in 3 minutes, but you will if you keep doing it every day. You take this tiny step every day, so not only you make a small change every day for the better, you also create the habit of self-care, of looking at yourself, of coming back to yourself and to observe yourself and to tweak with the little details of what you do and the way you do things every day. And then you're on the path of learning and growth.
Can you maybe lead us through or give us a short, a little bit of what one of those explorations looks like?
Yeah, this probably makes more sense than talking about it. Can give you an idea.
Sure, I would love that.
Of what it may look like. So all of these sessions that I've created don't require any preparation. You don't need props. You don't need, you either sit on your chair or stand up. So let's do one on your chair. We're both sitting, so just stay seated and we'll look through a tiny movement exploration. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so move a little forward on your chair so that you don't lean back. So you just hold yourself upright. You don't have to do a good posture or anything. Just sit up. Okay, so you feel your sitting bones on the chair. You feel your feet on the ground. You have kind of a square, stable position. Okay, and start tilting your head so that your right ear comes closer to your right shoulder. A tiny bit and come back. And do it just once also to the left. You bring your left ear a little closer to your left shoulder and come back. You can, maybe you notice that there are differences between the sides, there always are, but we'll stick with one side. So go again to the right a few times. So the idea is to tilt your head, not to turn. Your gaze stays forward. You go a tiny bit with your right ear closer to your right shoulder. So this is called lateral flexion. We are doing a small curve in your neck area in this case, and it curves sideways. Obviously, you can imagine your spine doing a little sideways curve.
Right.
Okay, so now let your arms hang, and we'll keep doing this, and we are going to bring the right hand a little closer to the floor. So you do the same thing. You tilt your head, but now you also lower your right shoulder. So we're having the same sideways side bending along the spine, but we're involving also the chest. So it's a bit larger, right? We use more of the body. You can imagine the curve growing a little downwards along your chest. So your right shoulder comes down, your left shoulder goes a little bit higher. Okay. Next, you're going to have the left arm, the left hand somewhere above your head. It doesn't need to be stretched, it's just higher than the top of your head. And your right arm is hanging. And we keep going. We're tilting right to the right. The right hand comes closer to the floor, and at the same time, you bring the left hand closer to the ceiling. So now we're accentuating this tilt, this curve along the spine a little more. And you can feel the hands go away from each other. The right hand comes to the floor, the left hand goes to the ceiling. Don't try hard, don't make it big. So there's some more curve, more turning and bending along the spine. And you can feel the accordion effect in your ribs. The right side closes, the ribs come together. The left side opens up as you do this side bending. So you keep doing it just a few times. And now rest for a second. We'll do a last variation of the same idea. Now we're going to do the same. So the whole spine is curving, and now as you bring your right shoulder down, think of bringing your left hip, your left sitting bone, a little away from the chair, as if you wanted to bring closer the right shoulder and the right hip. Okay. Same idea. So now also your pelvis is tilting and participating in creating this side curve. So you step on the floor a little harder with the right foot. So you lift the right sitting bone a tiny bit from the chair, or make it lighter. Same movement, only larger, more of yourself participate. And you can imagine the curve of the spine. It creates a curve all along the spine. You do it and you come back to the middle each time. Okay, let go. Just feel yourself, feel your sitting bones on the chair. Feel the shape of your spine, the distance between each ear and the shoulder. You may notice that something changed, that maybe you feel a little twisted because one side is opened up, the other one.
I actually feel more, yeah, definitely more open on that side instead of being so compacted from sitting.
Yeah, so something is opened up probably on the ribs on the left side. Something has changed. Maybe there's more clarity in the contact with the chair. Okay, so this is it. This may be a 3-minute session. I didn't look at the time, but it was more or less, this is what it looks like. And you may feel the desire to do it on the other side.
That way you feel even.
Of course, which is, of course, possible. You can do it later. My recommendation is stay with it for a moment. Just feel this uneven sensation. So you feel that something happened. Mm-hmm. That's the idea. So actually we were exploring a very basic possibility of the mobility of the spine, which is side bending. There's the material for exploration is infinite. We can, I kept creating sessions, and each day it is a different one. We're exploring a different movement, and I have a full year, 365 sessions, because we have so many ways to move and so many details you can pay attention to. So this was just a random example.
Oh, but it was a good one too. I mean, especially if you're sitting, it's kind of like just gradually moving instead of just trying, because sometimes when we get up and try to just move and stretch too much, you wind up pinching or twisting or, you know, doing something just because you got so kind of tightened up from sitting and stuff all the time.
Yeah, so a basic idea of the Feldenkrais method, it asks you to lower the muscle tone, to try less hard, to stay in the really easy range, and this is where you become more sensitive and you feel smaller details. So this is the area in which we explore. We're not trying to stretch, or we weren't trying to get further away, just to sense what is happening.
little bit of movement instead of I think we stay static way too much.
I insist and remind my students again and again to lower to try less hard, to not go into the extreme of the possible movement. because then you actually become less sensitive.
Yeah, yep, definitely. How did you get into all of this to start with?
Well, I was a professional pianist for 30 years. I was sitting at the piano many hours. I had back problems, back pain. It is hard work.
Uh-huh.
And it has to be very perfect, everything you do, in order not to harm yourself, because it's kind of repetitive and many hours doing the same kind of movements. And I took the Feldenkrais training in the beginning of my career, so it always accompanied me at the piano, at my own exploration of how I move, and this path of improvement that this method allowed me to do, allowed me to stay in this career and even thrive. And then a few years just before the pandemic, I decided to leave my post at the university. I've had enough. I didn't want to sit at the piano for so many hours anymore, and I decided to dedicate myself to Feldenkrais, to teaching this movement method that is, I call it mindful movement, because it's really about observing yourself as you move. And yeah, with the pandemic, this new experiment came to life in front of the screen when I couldn't see people in my studio anymore. So yeah, this is what I do now.
So you work with people still in your studio and online, or are you all online, or you do both?
I hardly give classes in person anymore. I sometimes get invited to do some groups and some workshops or sessions, but now this persistent growth, I call it, this series of daily practice became a membership, and this is what I do.
Nice,
I work with my members. They do their daily practice. We have meetings online. There is some material in the membership, so it became kind of a whole platform for mindful movement, taking care of yourself.
And it's a good name too, because whether you're in business or anything, the persistence and the consistency, all of that is important for creating those habits. So what is the best way for people to connect with you or contact you?
Through my webpage, you can get to my social media and connect with me. So it's persistent-growth, just a normal hyphen, persistent-growth.com.
Okay.
That's
wonderful.
my page.
I will make sure I put those in your social links. I have all those from the sheet you provided me. So I will make sure that goes in the comments too.
Yeah, I'm also on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. I post things that have to do with what I do, with taking care of yourself, looking at your movement. Welcome to join me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Michael. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today and talk to our community. If any of you have any questions, I will have all of the links and stuff of how you can contact and connect with Michael, and feel free to reach out to him. But thank you very much for spending your time with us this afternoon.
Thank you, Laura, for the invitation, and thank you for doing the work that you're doing. We all need some more self-care.
I think we can do more together. And I've met so many neat people across the country, across the globe. There's just so much out there. So if we can bring it all together and whatever resonates with people and can help them, I'm always all for it. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll catch you guys all next week. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week.